Hey, it's Russ Ruffino with Clients on Demand, and today I'm going to walk you through my $100 million productivity system. So this is the exact productivity system that I used in my business to scale to $100 million in revenue. Now, when you think about how few businesses actually reach that mark, it's pretty rare. So you better be able, if you want to build a great business or accomplish amazing things, you better be able to have a system for getting maximum stuff done in minimum time, and also knowing what the right things to do are so you can actually create massive results in your business or in your life every single day. So let me go ahead and walk you through how to do this right now. Oh, hold up there. Nothing that I say on this channel should ever be taken as a claim about what you can do or what you can earn. According to the US Department of Labor statistics, you have less than a 1 in 1,000 chance of building an 8-figure business. All business entails risk. Most businesses fail. All I can do on this channel is share with you what's worked for me and what's worked for my clients. What you do with that information is up to you. All right, back to the video. Now, the first and biggest misconception that people have is that productivity is just about getting more stuff done. So we allow our to-do list to just pile up and get longer and longer and longer. And we keep adding stuff and adding stuff and adding stuff. And that's usually about the time that we watch a YouTube video like this one going, oh my God, I need some sort of system for getting this stuff done. But if all you're trying to do is wade through the massive collection of stuff on your to-do list and just try to cross those things off, you're really not understanding what productivity truly is. Because productivity is not about getting more stuff done. It's about getting the most important stuff done on a consistent basis. So what is that? What are the most important things? And how do you even know what they are? Well, there's two categories of things that I think need to be a non-negotiable for you. And this is what most people get wrong. They don't do either one of these things or both of these things. And then they wonder, why am I busy all the time? Why is my to-do list growing all the time? Why do I feel like a hamster on a wheel and I'm just not getting anywhere? So the first category of thing that needs to be a non-negotiable for you is sharpening the saw. Sharpening the saw. Now that's anything that you do to increase your work capacity. So when you are running at the limit, when you're really running at the red line in your business and you're trying to get tons of stuff done, you are going to burn out. And so it's critical that you make time for certain activities throughout the day to recharge your batteries, whatever that is for you. So for me, spending time with my wife recharges my batteries. Spending time with my kids recharges my batteries. I go in the sauna for like 20 minutes every day. I go in a cold plunge for like 3 minutes every day. I meditate. I do gratitude work. These things for me are non-negotiables. I put them in my calendar. I block out that time. And no matter what happens, nothing is going to stop me from doing those things on any given day. And the reason for that is because I know that if I don't make time for those things, what's going to happen is, yeah, I might get a couple things more done today, but my capacity to work is going to plummet over time. So you've got to figure out what are those things for you that really recharge your batteries? What are the things for you that really sharpen the saw? And then block out that time and don't let anyone interfere with that as best as you possibly can. Now, a lot of you guys who are interested in self-improvement, you're already doing that. You're working out every day, you're de-stressing every day, you're sticking to a routine, and that's great. It's really the second category of things that separates the successful people from the super successful people. And that second category of things are the big, scary moves that can really move your life forward. These are these things, these ideas that you might have in the back of your head where you think to yourself, what if? What if I did that? What if I made that move? And it seems so unbelievably scary to you that you end up just procrastinating on it. Not because you've got too much going on, not because you're too busy, not because you need more time. You procrastinate on it out of fear. So what am I talking about? Well, there's this amazing story about Steven Spielberg before anybody knew who he was. He put on a suit, he grabbed a briefcase, and he walked onto the lot at Universal Studios and just found an empty office and just moved right in. Nobody told him he could be there. He certainly wasn't supposed to be there. He basically hopped the wall, went inside, found an empty office, and set up shop. And whenever anybody questioned him, he just acted like he was supposed to be there. And he was able to make all these ridiculous connections. He was able to meet people. And he actually made his first 35 millimeter film called Amblin. And then all he had to do was walk across the hall and start showing that film to the other executives at Universal who all thought that he was supposed to be there. Nobody knew how he got there or who invited him, but he was there and nobody really questioned it. So think about the level of guts that a move like that takes to do something that big, to do something that crazy, change the trajectory of the rest of his life. And so for us, that might be starting a business. That might be rolling out that new webinar funnel that you've been thinking about. That might be rolling out that new high ticket offer that's been rattling around in the back of your head, or offering that new mastermind, or quitting your job and starting a business. Whatever that big, scary thing is, you've got to prioritize time working on it. So look, you guys might not know this, but before I started my coaching company, I spent 10 years in LA trying to make it as an actor. And I did all the actor things. I went to scene study class. I went to acting class. I read plays. I hung out with other actors. You know what I didn't do? I didn't do the one thing that actors really need to do in order to get jobs. And that's go on auditions, right? You can do all the other stuff. You can go to acting class, you can go to scene study class. But if you're not going on auditions, if you're not putting yourself in a position where someone has the ability to say yes or no, then you're not really doing anything to really move the ball forward. So what I want to do is I want to challenge you to think to yourself, for you in your life, where you are right now, what is that? What is that big, scary move? And if you don't know what it is, just let that question rattle around in the back of your mind for a little while and you will think of something. But what is that big move that you can make? So for a business owner, I'll tell you what that is right now. For most of us, it's to make more offers. Your income is intimately linked to the number of offers that you make. So we coach our clients who have $5,000, $8,000, $10,000 coaching programs that they're selling to their ideal clients, right? Now, the more people they talk to, the more sales they're going to make. The more offers they make, the more sales they're going to make, and the more their income is going to grow. And so when we've got someone who's stuck at 10K a month and they're trying to get to 50K a month or 100K a month or whatever their goal is, it really is just a question of getting their pricing right and getting them to make more offers. Now, that is scary because you're putting yourself in a position where you could be rejected. You're putting yourself in a position where somebody could say no. And that is the scariest thing of all. So some questions to think about if you're trying to identify what those big moves are. I like to ask myself this: what is the biggest, scariest, craziest move that I could make right now that would absolutely change my life? Another great question comes from the book, The One Thing. And that's, what's the one thing you can do right now that would make everything else easier or unnecessary? That's a great book if you want to nail down this concept. Peter Thiel asks a great question: how can you achieve your 10-year goals in 6 months? And Tim Ferriss asks a great question: what have you been putting off out of fear? If you look at your life and that to-do list is piling up, it's usually because you're not doing the one or two super scary things that could really move the ball forward. Does that make sense? So busyness is a form of laziness. The more stuff you have, the busier you are, the more tiny little irrelevant tasks that you're focused on, it's actually a form of laziness because you're avoiding doing the one or two things that could really change the game for you. Does that make sense? So the solution to this is to make these two categories of things, sharpening the saw and the big scary moves, to make those non-negotiable. So every day right now in your calendar, whether you use Google Calendar, Apple Calendar, whatever it is, I want you to block out some time. I want you to block out about 60 minutes to sharpen the saw. Now, during that time, again, it's up to you what you want to do. Maybe you do jujitsu. Maybe you go work out. Maybe you sit in a sauna. Maybe you meditate. Maybe you go for a walk. But you're going to do something during the day to recharge the batteries. Now, for me, I'm a morning person. My energy is the highest in the morning, and it starts to go down as the day goes on. So for me, the time to sharpen the saw is right around 2 o'clock. right? So around 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I'm feeling my energy start to fall off. That's when I'm going to go in the sauna. That's when I'm going to do the cold plunge. And that's going to give me a shot in the arm to recharge me. So now I can crush the rest of the day. So whenever that time of day is for you, that you find your energy level starting to drop, that's when you want to block out that probably 60-minute block to sharpen the saw, to recharge the batteries, and to do whatever that thing is. Make sense? Now, the other piece, the big scary moves, you need to block out 2 to 4 hours a day just to do those biggest, most important things. Now, this is the critical piece, right? This is the difference between people that are just busy and working all the time and people that are actually making huge leaps. You wonder how guys like Alex Hormozy or me or Sam Evans built these massive businesses in such a short amount of time. It's because we prioritized the big, scary stuff. We didn't procrastinate on it, and we blocked out time every day to make sure we were working on the most important thing. So for you, that should be 2 hours at least, and 4 hours if you can do it. And if you're doing that, if you're really spending 2 hours a day or 4 hours a day of just uninterrupted work on the things that are mission critical, that's going to absolutely change the trajectory of the rest of your life. It is going to leapfrog you way past your competition. You know, every day at Clients on Demand, we talk to coaches that don't have a client attraction funnel, that don't have a high ticket offer, that don't have a high ticket back end. And the reason they don't have those things is because they're just afraid. They're afraid to invest what it takes to get those things set up. They're afraid to spend the time, but more importantly, they're afraid that people are going to say no. And so they put those things off and they put those things off. And now their to-do list is filling up with all this irrelevant junk that's just not going to move the ball forward for them. So a big part of the work that we have to do is to get them focused on the most important things for them. And that's how we help our clients scale their businesses so quickly. Does that make sense? So block out that 2 to 4 hour block of time and just make sure that it is untouchable. Nothing can interrupt it. Nothing can block it. Put your phone on do not disturb. Get rid of anything else. No meetings, no interruptions, nothing. Put some music on, put your head down, and get that work done. And if you're doing that every day, 6 months from now, 12 months from now, you are not going to recognize your life because you will be so much further ahead than anyone else in your space. It's an unbelievable thing. What about the rest of the stuff, right? You're saying, Russ, man, that sounds great. I get it. I'll do that. But there's other things on my list that just like they have to get done. I gotta, pay the bills. I gotta clean my room. I gotta balance my bank account, whatever it is, right? I gotta do this. I gotta take care of the kids. I have to, whatever, right? So for those other things, what I want you to do is I want you to take a look at everything on your to-do list, and I want you to use the acronym B.R.E.A.D. 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 And that stands for batch, reduce, eliminate, automate, and delegate. Batch, reduce, eliminate, automate, delegate. All right, so let's talk about batching. I was just talking to my friend Kelly. My friend Kelly is super successful on TikTok. She's creating a ton of content for TikTok. She's creating that content all the time. She's editing that content herself. And so what that means for Kelly is that every day she makes a new video, and then she has to stop what she's doing and she has to edit it, right? So she's constantly switching gears from one thing to the next. And that's really what kills your productivity, is this constant switching gears. You're sitting down to work on an important project, and then you get an email. Oh, now I got to answer this email. You're sitting down to work on this project. You get a Slack message. Oh, now I got to respond to the Slack message. And it takes you out of the momentum. It breaks the momentum of what you're doing. So batching is the antidote to having to switch back and forth. Anytime you have a repetitive task that you're doing throughout the day, like checking email, you want to block out time just to do that. And set that as a rule for yourself. I check email from 9 to 9:30 in the morning, and I check email from 4 to 4:30 in the afternoon. If you email me at any other time, you are not going to get a response except in those two windows. And what that allows me to do now is batch those things together so that I'm not doing it intermittently throughout the day. I've got certain protected chunks of time where I am doing it. Does that make sense? So if your job is to create a certain amount of content every day, if you're a content creator, block out a certain amount of time where you're just going to create that content, and you're not going to just do it intermittently throughout the day because it's going to throw off everything else you're doing. Does that make sense? Now, the R is reduce. Maybe there's stuff that's on your to-do list right now that you can just cut down. So for example, if you're running a coaching program and you're doing 3 Q&A calls a week with your clients, maybe you could get by with 2. Maybe you could get by with 1. right? Whatever you're doing, whatever you're working on that you think you need to be doing, just ask yourself, what would happen if I did less of this? Just as a thought experiment. What would happen if you reduced this? Would it really hurt things? Would it cause major problems, major disruptions in your business, in your life? Most of the time, it wouldn't. So if you can do less of something and just reduce it, then do that. Now, to take it one step further, you've got the E, which is eliminate. Is this something that you can eliminate altogether? Do you even need to be doing this at all? So at Clients on Demand, we look at this frequently. So maybe we're doing whatever we're doing on social media. Maybe we're doing outreach on LinkedIn. Maybe we're doing a podcast. Maybe we're posting on Instagram. Maybe we're posting on Facebook. Well, over time, we're going to measure our results from those things. And if we're not getting the outcome that we want, we're either going to try to do it differently, or if it's just a dead end, we're just going to cut it. We're just going to eliminate it. You know, we have a mastermind, and in that mastermind, when we first started it, there were tons of training calls. There were tons of Q&A calls. And it was very, very time consuming to deliver that mastermind. Well, we surveyed our clients and we said, hey guys, what do you want from this mastermind? How can we make this mastermind better? And you know what they said? They said fewer trainings, fewer Q&A calls. They said do less of this stuff. And so right there, we thought that we were adding more and more and more value. But the truth is we were just taking up more of their time. Does that make sense? So we eliminated a lot of that stuff. And now we're happier because those things are off our to-do list. And the clients are happier too, because now they don't feel like there's a million different calls that they have to attend. Does that make sense? So look at your to-do list and see, okay, well, what can we eliminate? Then that brings us to the A, which is to automate. With the advent of AI, there are so many things that you can automate now. And that number is just going to get higher and higher and higher as we go. I'm probably going to do a whole series of videos on how to leverage AI in your business. But for right now, just begin to understand that if there is any boring, repetitive task that you have to do all the time, there's an excellent chance that you can automate it. So I'll give you a simple example. When we enroll a new client into our programs, we send them a members agreement. This is something that can absolutely be automated. A human being doesn't need to be the one to fire off those member agreements, right? Getting people their logins to our members area. Again, that can be automated. If you've got emails that you need to write, you'd be shocked at what an amazing job ChatGPT does at writing fantastic emails when you know how to prompt it correctly, especially now. When it first came out, it was just okay. Now it's literally able to write master level copy if you know how to teach it what to do. And I'll probably do some videos on that too. But the main thing I want you to understand, the ceiling of what AI can do is constantly getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and it's happening very quickly. So if you're not leveraging AI in your business, if you're not leveraging automations in your business, I can almost guarantee you there's a lot of stuff on your to-do list that either doesn't need to be there or that you could get done a hell of a lot faster if you just automated it. Now that's true for you. That's true for the people on your team as well. So make sure you take a look at what they're doing every day and how they're spending their time and apply this B.R.E.A.D system to what they're doing as well. Make sense? And then finally, the last piece is to delegate. That D, delegate. Now, delegation is so critically important if you want to grow your business. There are so many business owners out there that think to themselves, well, look, I'm the only one that can do this. Whatever you're doing, if you've got a pool cleaning company, nobody cleans the pool like me. I'm the one that's going to clean all the pools because I want to make sure that it gets done right. Well, right there, you've destroyed your ability to scale. And if you don't have the ability to scale, you don't have the ability to impact as many people as you possibly can. So no matter how much pride you take in your work, it's critical that you take the work that you do and you systematize it into something that you can teach other people how to do. So again, one of the things that we do for our clients at Clients on Demand is we help them develop really, really powerful marketing videos that we call authority videos. And in the early days of Clients on Demand, I thought to myself, hey man, I'm the best in the world at this. I'm the only person who can create videos like this. I'm the only person who can advise our clients on what their videos should say. And because of that, it severely limited the growth of our company because there were only so many hours in a day that I could spend working on that stuff and not growing the rest of the business. So I had to set my ego aside. I went out there and hired some of the best copywriters I could find. I trained them on exactly how to do this. And now they do it actually better than I used to. So another thing that you need to understand is that all of the things that you hate in your business, there's someone out there that can do it better, faster, and cheaper than you. Even the stuff that you think sucks. So for example, preparing your tax returns, right? I can't think of something that would be more miserable than having to sit there and prep my tax return. But there's people out there that live for that. Believe it or not, they love it. They're so excited about it. Ooh, you're going to take a deduction here. And oh, I found another deduction there. And they get so excited about it. Those are the people that you want doing those things. So a big question to ask yourself as you look at what's left on your to-do list is which of those things are in your zone of genius? Which of those things are in your zone of genius? And that means that A, you love to do it, and B, that you are incredible at it. And if there's anything at your list that A, you don't love to do, and B, you're not very good at, that is something that you need to delegate as quickly as you possibly can, because you should delegate it to someone who does enjoy it and who is good at it. Even if you're great at it, if you don't enjoy it, you're just not going to do a good job. You might do all right, but if you're doing it through gritted teeth, it's like, no, someone else will do it better because you find someone who loves it. Does that make sense? And I'll tell you one other thing. As your company grows and as your company scales, you are going to have to delegate even the things that are in your zone of genius. Because if you don't, you've got no chance of ever selling your company or ever scaling your company past your own personal capacity. So I'll give you an example. You think about Apple Computer. In the early days of Apple Computer, Steve Jobs and his partner were building computers in his garage. Now imagine if Steve had said, you know what? Nobody can build a computer like me. These are going to be handcrafted computers. I'm going to build each and every one from scratch. Well, if he thought that way, I wouldn't have an Apple computer on my desk. I wouldn't have an iPad right here. I wouldn't be talking to you on a Mac Studio display. Whatever it is, none of us would have it unless you were able to go to his house and go into his garage and get that computer that was handmade. So you've got to set your ego aside because you don't want to limit the value that you can create in the world. Remember, it is not your job as a business owner to change people's lives. It's your job to build a machine that changes people's lives, because that machine can outlast you. That machine can survive if, God forbid, something happens to you. So make sure that in your business or in your work life, you are delegating as much as you possibly can. If it's not in your zone of genius, get rid of it. All right, so that is how I run things. Now, whatever is left after you take it through that B.R.E.A.D process, you're going to use something that we call the Ivy Lee method. This is really simple. You take 6 tasks that you feel like you couldn't necessarily batch, reduce, eliminate, automate, or delegate. These are the things that are left, and you just get those 6 tasks done every day. And then everything that you don't get done, you move over to the next day. And that's it. So now when you incorporate this system, you've probably massively cleaned up your to-do list. You are making time every day to sharpen the saw and increase your production capacity. You are doing those big, scary things that your competitors are way too afraid to do, and they keep putting it off and putting it off, which right there is going to elevate you into the top 1%. So if that's what your day looks like, you've got an hour blocked out to sharpen the saw, you've got 2 to 4 hours blocked out for that big, scary, awesome work that can really move the ball forward. And then you've reduced your to-do list down to about 6 or 7 things that are your must-dos for the day. And that's what every day looks like for you. If you implement this system, you are going to move the ball so much farther down the field than with whatever you were doing before. And you're going to greatly outclass your competitors, and you're going to be crushing it every single day, and you won't burn out because you're taking the time to sharpen the saw and because you're focusing on those things that are within your zone of genius. Does that make sense? All right, guys, hopefully that was useful for you. We've got some great resources for you in the description of this video. There's some links in there. Go ahead and check it out. It's my pleasure to serve you today. I'm Russ Ruffino, and I'll catch you on the next video. Bye.